So there are a few abyss cores hidden behind waterfalls in Crimson Desert that will actually help you unlock skills faster by boosting your XP gain. Not to mention a bunch of specific gear items behind waterfalls and in other locations that will really help you out early on. But basically right at the start of the game, you can get a very powerful two-handed sword that I continued to use almost 100 hours into my playthrough. Plus, you can become rich very easily if you know where to look. And there's actually a sword that pairs nicely with other one-handed weapons if you want to dual wield. Starting at the bridge you cross at the very beginning of the game near Hernand, there are a few bits of gear all around the canyon here that you may want to circle back for if you didn't get them earlier. Like right off the end of the bridge, there's a little wooden shrine where you can grab a sealed abyss core, but the most important thing to do here is to drop down right behind that shrine and turn left to find a cave entrance in the cliff face. Following this back leads you to the first witch's location, where you can find not just a couple of Palmer pills, but the recipe to craft your own and a cauldron where you can craft them. Palmer pills let you bring yourself back to life when you die in combat, which is super useful when you're attempting a tough boss like one of the ones I'll show you later that gives an awesome weapon. And Palmer pills only require water and 15 flowers to craft. You can use lots of different types of flowers and some other items like mushrooms to craft them as well, so definitely stock up on flowers as you explore. There are actually a bunch right outside the cave. And if you head over to the waterfalls at the north end of the canyon and head up to the top of the lowest falls, you'll find a statue just off to the side with an alcove behind it blocked by metal bars. Just light the candles the statue's holding and those bars will open, letting you loot the Legionary's Gladius. It has the same attack stat as the Sword of the Wolf you start with, but it also has an attack speed level of 1, so it's a nice little upgrade. But the best early loot definitely comes from raiding all the manor houses around Hernand. The Lioncrest Manor over here on a hill northwest of the main town has some particularly good stuff, but in order to steal things you need a mask, and the easiest way to get one is by buying it from Grimrack, the back alley merchant southeast of town. He hangs out in the shadows under a windmill and he actually sells a few useful things. Definitely grab a mask, but you should also pick up the poison arrows recipe from him at some point. And he has a wind/abyss core, which adds a damaging wave to the end of the basic light attack combo. You'll get one of these for free along with the Sword of the Lord from the Chapter 2 Hornsplitter boss, but if you want one early or a second one for dual wielding, you can pick it up here. But now that you have a mask, head over to the Lioncrest Manor, and if the guards won't let you in the front door, it means you don't have the Alfonso faction quest yet, but you can just find a window to climb up to, hang from the window ledge, and then open the window and climb in. You pretty much want to check every room in this place. A strongbox in one bedroom will give you an engraved gold earring for a bit of extra defense and movement speed. All you have to do is turn the pieces of the picture puzzle until the image looks correct again. There's also a storage room upstairs with a treasure chest inside containing the Rhonid Large Shield, which has much higher defense than your base shield. Downstairs in a bedroom is another chest with the Brass Warden's plate gloves that not only have a higher attack stat than basically any other gloves you can find early, but they also come with a fire resist core and a core that gives 10% higher chance of logging extra timber. The piece de resistance though is the gold bar you can snag from the fireplace in the main hall. First, put out the fire by interacting with it, and then interact with the fireplace again to reach up in and grab the gold bar from inside. In your inventory, you'll see it's worth 190 silver, but you don't want to sell this to a merchant. Instead, head down to the bank in town where you can exchange it for 500 silver. It's also worth noting that once you have some more silver, you can start investing gold bars here so they passively grow your wealth over time. But there's actually more to loot back at the Lioncrest Manor, this time in the guest house right next to it. Again, just climb in a window and in the upstairs room you'll find a treasure chest containing the Hwando, which is basically a two-handed katana, or I guess technically an odachi, and this thing is one of the most powerful weapons you'll be able to get for quite a while, so it really is a huge boost to have it. Plus, it comes with 3 abyss cores that are all definitely nice to have as well. And while you're stealing stuff, keep in mind you need to make sure no one sees you, at least not while the theft meter on the right side of your screen here is still active. So after looting a room, just wait for it to run down before leaving the room, otherwise you risk getting spotted and immediately sent to jail where they'll take a bit of money and your mask too. But the other manors in town are definitely worth raiding as well. At the Bluemont Manor, you can find a finely crafted gold necklace with attack 1 and critical rate 1 inside the strongbox upstairs. These particular strongbox puzzles are a little fiddly, but basically the idea is to adjust each of the cylinders so that the line in the center of each one lines up with the line across the strongbox face when you push in the knob. You often need to make tiny adjustments to each dial to get them to line up perfectly, but once you get it, you just push the knob and turn it and the box will open. And you can head outside and over to the secondary building right next to the main house where you can head upstairs to find another strongbox with an owl puzzle. This one's basically just a matter of pushing the buttons until you can get all the sides with pictures to line up, and then you'll get the Oath of Darkness earring with a defense stat of 2. The other manors have some decent loot that's mostly good for cashing in for silver, but there is the Saint's Necklace in the Hillside Manor strongbox. This one is more situational because it instantly restores your stamina, but it has a 30-minute cooldown. So it can come in handy in a pinch when you're climbing and you know you're not going to make it to a ledge. Just hold open the gear wheel, switch over to armor, and then select the necklace slot and switch over to the Saint's Necklace. Then you just press left and right triggers to activate it. On keyboard, you just press B. Switching gear via the gear wheel like this is also the fastest way to change up your loadout, by the way, instead of opening up the inventory every time. Now you'll need to head out of Hernand for some even better gear, but before heading out, I would definitely recommend picking up the Canta Plate chest piece by purchasing it from the smith and refining it to level 4 with iron and copper to get it to 17 defense. You can get that Legionary's Gladius sword to level 4 as well. And then once you have some contribution marks from doing side quests and other activities around Hernand, definitely go up to the contribution shop at the castle to pick up the Bolton Plate Cloak and Ceremonial Guard Boots. Those are the best cloak and boots you'll be able to get for a little while. You might also want to grab the Helm for now, since you won't be getting a much better one for a little while too. Now it's time to start searching for even better weapons and armor pieces outside Hernand. And you specifically want to prioritize a couple that will give you a 20% boost to XP gains so you can get extra Abyss artifacts and unlock skills faster. But first, big shout out to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. I actually use a VPN all the time to get more out of other services I already pay for, like Netflix. You know how sometimes you're looking for a certain show or movie, but then Netflix or whatever your favorite streaming service is just doesn't have it? Well, that's not necessarily true. See, Netflix, Hulu, HBO, all of these streaming services have different libraries of content for different regions. But with ExpressVPN, I can change my location to anywhere in the world and basically unlock all that content. So like right now, Netflix doesn't have the Lord of the Rings movies in the US, but I can see here on the UnoGS site that it does actually have them in Spain. So I just switch my location here to Spain and boom, Netflix thinks my computer's in Spain and now I can watch Lord of the Rings. And that actually also got me access to The Matrix and a bunch of other movies and shows. If I want Friends, I can set my location to South Africa, Canada if I want The Office, you get the idea. I also really like that ExpressVPN has this cool split tunneling feature, so you can set up the VPN to only be active for specific websites or apps. And on top of all that, it helps keep your data private by encrypting and rerouting data through their secure servers so your ISP and others can't spy on you. Plus, their cheapest plan is only like $350 a month, and you can get 4 extra months for free by going to expressvpn.com/Arktix, clicking the link below, or scanning the QR code here on screen. Thanks again to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Now, if you've already beat the Hornsplitter in Chapter 2, then you have the Sword of the Lord, which is definitely a solid weapon early on. But if you want a second sword with basically the same stats to dual wield, then you can head down to the Dawn Cave down here, straight south from Hernand, and just to the west of a village called Velua. Either fly down or climb up to about the midway point on the waterfall where you'll find a little rock cairn. Anytime you see one of these near a waterfall, it means you can get behind it to find a hidden cave with loot, and most waterfalls do have them. So to get through the falls, all you need to do is use your stab skill to phase through the barrier, and then you'll be free to loot the cave on the other side. In this one, you'll find the hollow Visage sword, which upgrades to attack level 18 at level 4, just like the Sword of the Lord. Plus it comes with 3 Abyss cores already equipped to give some extra boosts. And then a little further north and west in the Witchwoods, there are 3 more waterfall caves you should definitely hit up. The Cloud Mist cave has the Dark Ringleader's leather gloves, which have a bit more defense than the Brass Warden's gloves, but mainly I like grabbing these because they come with an ice resistance core and a defense 3 core you can pull off to use on other gear. A little further up the river, the Shadowheart Grotto Cave has the Dark Ringleader's cloth helm, which you primarily want for its stamina regen core. And then just south of Fort Warspike is the Blade Cave that contains the Dark Ringleader's cloth armor with a few cores on it as well. These aren't particularly special ones, but keep in mind a witch can fuse cores together into stronger versions for you. So even if you don't use some of these right now, stocking up comes in handy later when optimizing your loadout, especially since now you can actually use the chest behind Carl at the camp as personal storage to stash extra stuff like cores that you won't need for a while. And then the Dark Ringleader's cloak is down a bit further south in the Echoing Tunnel. It isn't particularly strong, but it is useful for going into cold regions because it has level 3 ice resistance, which you can stack with ice resistance cores on other gear. But a core you definitely want to start using right away is the 10% skill gain one, which you can actually get 2 copies of on 2 different sets of boots. The Embersteps are probably the first ones you're going to want to go for, and they're in the Cascade Grotto northeast of Hernand and near the Hills of No Return. This is another waterfall one, so same deal as the others, just stab through the falls and loot the chest on the other side. And don't forget to either wear those boots or take that 10% skill XP gain core off and put it on something you are going to wear. While you're over here, you can also pick up the Scorchflame plate gloves, cloak, and a sorcerer's staff. The gloves are behind another waterfall nearby in the Twilight Grotto, and they come with an ice resistance level 1 core and a really cool one called Volcanic Eruption, which enhances fire imbued attacks to cause lava eruptions. That won't work until you unlock the fire element though, which you can do by completing the Tree of Slumber Abyss puzzle, which is part of a series of puzzles starting at the Spire of Ringing Truth up in Payloon. I'll leave the Map Genie interactive map link in the description. But we still need that Scorchflame cloak, and this one's pretty tricky. Down in the same hole you had to drop into to get the Scorchflame plate gloves, you'll find a small cave network with the Gravewalker mini-boss inside. This guy's not actually that hard if you have all the gear we already went over. Just do force palms and turning slashes to get him stunned, and then wail on the main chunk while he's down. Once you've taken care of him, light the 2 lantern posts at the back of the room to open the gated area to pick up the Sorcerer's Staff. And then shine your lantern at the wall up and to the right of that alcove to find a leaf mark glittering on it. You want to climb up to that part of the wall, hold L2 to resist, and then do a force palm to spin the wall around, getting you into a hidden chamber. This is where you'll find the cloak, which is not only one of the best cloaks you can get really early, but I also think it looks really cool. But I said there was another set of boots with a 10% skill XP gain core, and those are the plate boots of the shadows, which are way over here to the west of Hernand in the Frostclaw Cave beneath another waterfall. They come with a 2% climb speed core as well. Now, there is a whole set of shadows armor, but you won't be able to fight the boss to get all of it until you've cleared chapter 6. Once you do, you can go to the Honemark ruins over here to do it. You can get the chest piece early if you want though. You just need to go over here to the Everfrost Watchtower and light a lantern post to open up the gated alcove and grab it. It's got a few pretty good cores on it as well. But we haven't talked much about helms, and one of my favorites you can get early is the Staglord helm, officially called the Leather Helm of the Fallen Kingdom. This comes from opening up a hidden room at the Sanctum of Benediction, over here just south of the E in Hernand on the map. You just need to make your way up the stairs to the top of the ruins and light the 2 lantern posts near the wall to open it up, and you'll find the helm inside. And the best thing about it is that it comes with a plus 35% turning slash damage core, which is of course super useful since turning slash is a skill you're likely using all the time in combat anyway. You can also get the Staglord Shield, which is definitely one of the better early ones, and also the Cloak, which is quite good as well. Both of those are up here in the Icemoor Castle ruins, but before you head out there, you'll want to start the Broken Trail questline for House Circus, which you get by talking to Willem's lieutenant just over here west of Hernand. Just follow the questline until it takes you to Icemoor Castle, where you'll find the Staglord and can fight him. He's actually not too tough, especially if you've got all the gear we already covered. Just hit him with turning slashes when he's taking a break between his combos, and try to force palm him as much as possible so you can build up more stun. Once you've beaten him, you'll get his shield, and you can go around the back of the ruins behind the main battle area to grab the cloak. There's a small blocked hole in a wall which you need to clear, and then you can crouch through to get into a small room with a chest containing the cloak. You can actually grab the cloak anytime, but the quest has to be active for the Staglord to appear so you can get the shield. And a lot of people don't realize that beating the Staglord actually gives you another piece of gear. There's a woman back in Hernand who will be looking to talk to you after you beat him because he killed her husband. She appeared for me in the Bluemont Manor, but she can be in multiple places around here, so you may need to wander around a bit, but once you find her, she'll give you the Kylus dagger, which is a nice upgrade over your base one. But now that you're kitted up, if you're up for a bit of a challenge, you can head to the Sanctum of Absolution to get the Vessel of Dark Pursuit. This is a really cool two-handed sword that also comes with a great core, Wound of Darkness, which adds damaging waves to your turning slash attacks. You've got to beat the Antumbra's sword boss to get it though, and he's not exactly easy at this stage of the game. So the simple way to deal with him is to use focus a lot to watch him in slow motion to learn his attack patterns and dodge or parry his attacks when they come in. You won't be able to do that for every attack, but you can do it for a lot of them, and staying in focus a lot will also make sure you're charged up on spirit, so when you do get an opening, you can immediately do at least a couple of force palms to apply stun buildup, and then aim to do a turning slash as well to apply even more stun and get some damage in. The good thing is he's only a one-stage boss, and he doesn't have very many different attack patterns. Of course, bring lots of food and remember to heal while you're in focus as well. But if he's too challenging, you could go for the Soul Spear first, another powerful two-handed weapon that you can loot from the Tomb of Frozen Souls right over here under under the H in Hernand. The entrance is a little tricky to find. It's an opening in the cliff face a little north of the tomb itself, and once you get in there, you'll run into a lot of Antumbra enemies. The good thing is you can just run past them to get to the room with the spear. When you walk into the tomb, just look down in the main chamber, and you want to jump down to this platform below that's sticking out a little ways. The soul spear is just inside the room there, and if the flying enemies follow you in, the easiest way to deal with them is either nail them with poison arrows or blast them back with the level 2 focus skill to knock them out of the air, and then you can quickly take them out on the ground. Once you've looted the spear, you can just fast travel out of the tomb. The soul spear is one of the strongest two-handed weapons you can grab early, but it's worth noting you can't refine it to make it stronger, and you also can't equip abyss cores on it, so I actually prefer the Hwando sword we got earlier. Now, I've got even more tips on gear and other things you're going to want to check out in this video right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there in just a second.